What is up, YouTube? Welcome to today's video, and we are going to go over my league start and why lightning arrow / tornado shot ended up providing me with one of my fastest league starts ever, finishing all 4 void zones, I think in under like 15 hours or so. And it was a very fun experience, and I did learn a lot about bows, and I do think that bows in the future, if nothing much from the meta changes, will become one of the most meta league start. I hope that this full leveling run and trying it out as a league starter does kind of dispel a lot of the stigma that bows have. I was using a 4-link all the way in reds and T16s, and early game artillery ballistas really carry. However, later on, this one Anoint that got changed, known as Vengeant Cascade, completely flipped the game on the head, allowing lightning arrow to compete with tornado shot and potentially even beating out tornado shot in some scenarios. And this is because now we get the Nimmy's ring for free, and it was an amazing experience. I can't stress that enough. So first off, I did decide to try out the bow league starter. The reason why I didn't do Venom Jar was because I wanted to try something out a little bit different, because I did do Venom Jar 2 leagues in a row. However, a lot of people tried out Venom Jar and it was perfectly fine, especially with the dual wield setup and the multi-shot extra projectiles on the tree. Now, the most popular league starter as of today and right now did end up being Toxic Rain at 7%. Next up, we had Lightning Arrow at 6%. And this one was a little bit surprising because there was not really that many guides about Lightning Arrow, which shows that people really enjoy playing bow skills and they'll go to any length whatsoever to try out a bow skill. And I did look at a lot of the videos, and a lot of the videos didn't really have the proper setup in my eyes, because not many people were abusing the fact you get perma berserk nearly with the Comb Spirit gloves. And let's go see, actually, I was kind of wondering real fast about how many people actually were using the gloves. So we go right here, and PoE Ninja builds, and if you look at the lightning arrow Comb Spirit, only 13% of the people were using it, and that's a pretty low number overall. Now, tornado shot was also heavily played at 3%, which is kind of surprising. A lot of people do not play tornado shot, so it did show that you could swap to tornado shot a lot sooner than ever before. And Venom Jar was at 3%. A lot of this may be due to fatigue of playing the same skill again, but kind of like in my scenario. And a lot of people who play Venom Jar would also like bows, because it's a very similar play style in terms of how you scale all of the damage. Now, how was my leveling experience? I think I finished the campaign around under 4 hours. And the only reason why it wasn't actually under 4 hours was because I sat in queue for nearly 10 minutes. So very fast, and I was doing a lot of the league mechanic and trying it out a little bit. And the league mechanic, to put it frankly, is a disaster. I have no idea what GGG were doing, and I do think that this is going to be another one of those leagues where we wait a week or so, or maybe 2, before we get the actual real rewards from the league. Now, I did finish the full 4 void zones in under 15 hours, and I ended up getting all of my favorite maps done, and I also ended up, getting, I think, all 4 void stones and all of the map completion done at 115 out of 115. Now, a lot of people do ask me, what is your item progression early on when you do the bow build? And the thing is that you really want to prioritize the rage setup. The rage setup is a complete game changer, and we can see right here, our lightning arrow DPS is 221k. When you press berserk, it goes all the way up to 326k. Now, that's not even just the full story, because we actually don't even have rage normally without the gloves. So if you go look at it right here, without rage, our DPS when we first go to town is 185k. So it is an astronomical difference. So it goes from 180k with rage, it goes to 220k, and then with it pops, we go from 180k to around 330k, nearly doubling our damage. So that's how important the rage gloves are. Now, the way that you use the rage gloves is that the rage gloves makes it so you regenerate 1 rage per second for every 100 life recovery we have. And we get life recovery easily from Vol's Vision. Is the easiest one to do. Preferably, I would want to have the Berserk effect enchant instead of lightning arrow damage. I picked this up for like 40 chaos though. So we have 400 life regen, so we have 4 rage regen per second, and then I got it on the belt, so that's another 115 life regen, so that's around 1 plus 4 is 5 life regen. A lot of people could use Immortal Flesh for like 300, but I decided to stick with this belt. Now, as you may notice, I am using Omni. Well, before I bought the Omni, I purchased Hyrie's Ire and used around 1500 fusing with the crafting bench, purely because I hate the RNG. I kind of felt like this chest was kind of unlucky. I bought the chest. I used around 600 jeweler orbs and I didn't get a 6 socket. And I was pretty much like, fuck this. I'm going to go full bitch mode, right? And then I just used 1500 fusings straight up on the crafting bench. Probably not the best idea. It's not positive expected value. But I did that because I was afraid of getting unlucky. Now, after I bought the chest piece, I decided, should I buy Omni? At that point, I already had, Yoke of Suffering. I had 1 taming and 1 ring. And I was looking at the Crucible passive tree, and I was like, wow, some of these nodes are pretty strong. You can get, this thing goes all the way up to 10%. I've seen some nodes that have 120 strength. And then, like, this one is plus 0.8% base crit. But there's a lot of stuff on the Crucible passive tree that's going to make Omni super, super strong. If you look at my case, I almost have 1200 Omni, and I don't have gloves, chest, or helmet, or quiver with any sort of stats. So it just shows you how strong potentially the Crucible passive tree will be for Omni. And I did realize that the mobs in the Crucible were very, very tanky. So I was thinking that maybe having a little bit more penetration. So we have around, I think right here, you can see 88% elemental penetration. It would actually help a little bit against the Crucible mobs. And my setup does do a lot of damage. I do feel like a lot of the mobs do die very fast, even when I max channel it. But my gear is really, really strong. Now, it does remain, will Omniscience go up in price? And right now, I think the trade site is down, or something's wrong with the trade site. But you can see right now, Omniscience is around 15 divines, or maybe 18. This is probably getting price fixed. And I did buy this at around 9 divines. So I think it was an okay purchase. I was kind of not sure what to purchase. I was usually go for apothecaries or headhunter cards, but getting a mage blood literally feels like your league is over, because at that point, I don't really feel like I have any sort of meaningful upgrades left. But I am going to probably save up for a mage blood next. And also, I decided to buy the Thread of Hope large. It is relatively efficient. And then I also decided to buy Lionized Vision or Lionized Fall, which converts all of these crit nodes to bow nodes. And then it also allows me to get a lot more crit, because crit is a huge problem with this build. You'll notice that it's very, very hard to crit cap, especially without the crit chance suppression thing. And we do have nearly 100% spell suppression just from taking this one cluster over here, traveling to these nodes. And then lastly, getting, let's see, what else do we have? And then lastly, getting suppression on the chest piece. And that's why Hyrie's Ire, in my eyes, is really, really hard to beat and very, very difficult to really plan around and maybe get a rare chest in the future. But that's just what I'm working with currently. Next upgrade is probably going to be either a +2 arrow fractured bow or getting, what's it called, mage blood card. So I have this Omni, and this ring, I bought a % dex ring. These things are usually kind of interesting to buy because they usually go up in price quite a bit. And then this one, I just bought some really bad ring. I should have probably annulled it, but at that point I was having some accuracy issues. So you can see right here, without this ring, I actually have 96%. So I do need that little bit of accuracy in order to get my chance to hit, because Omni does remove the dexterity bonus, which greatly lowers your chance to hit. And then lastly, we have the, what's it called? My boots are absolutely terrible. A lot of this gear I made because I was in a rush from Omni. This is actually an atrocious item, but I was running out of, what's it called? I was running out of essences to craft. And then this bow is not bad. I bought this for like 50 chaos. It has some crit chance, crit multi, additional arrow, life, crafted on LE damage of attacks, and I exalted on flat fizz. My flasks are crit, evasion, armor, and attack speed. And this is my tree. I kind of want to path out this way instead, so I'm going to save some points. And I'm really thinking about maybe grabbing a cluster as I level up, because I have 4 more levels to go. And maybe dropping these onslaught nodes and going for a cluster is definitely going to be the best play. And in terms of leech mastery, this leech thing is insane. It helps you get your mana back really fast, and it's equivalent to around 350 life gain on hit, or 35 life gain on hit, which makes it very, very comparable to claws. Now, the game-changing Anoint that I do think that made the game or made bows absolutely insane this league is this Anoint called Vengeant Cascade. Vengeant Cascade got changed. So lastly, you can see here, it has this tag, attack projectiles return to you from final target. And now it is attack projectiles return to you. So you don't need a final target. So what this means is that in single target, when you shoot the mob, it will return to you. So before it would have to hit a mob and then it will return to you. So what this means is that this is pretty much Nimmies in an Anoint, as only for attack skills though. A nice part about this and what makes it so insane is that this actually fixes the single target on lightning arrows. So right now, when you shoot at a target with Sniper's Mark, the projectiles that split, because Sniper's Mark makes it split into 4, and with 100% mark effect, it splits into 8. So all those 8 projectiles can actually return, and since they're counted as separate instances of the projectile, not your lightning arrow cast, all of those projectiles can come back from Sniper's Mark, all 7 of them, and come back and hit the boss and shotgun it. So what happens is you can stand like right next to the boss and all the projectiles will come back that's split off with Sniper's Mark and come back and be able to hit the boss. And since it's counted as something different and not as your one cast of lightning arrows, since it's Sniper's Mark, it will be able to shotgun it. And the more mark effect you have, more Sniper's Mark buff effect you have, the more projectiles you'll be able to shotgun with. Now this is very similar to how Nimmies used to work and why like Kinetic Blast or Fireball was so insanely strong, or even Spark. Now Nimmies was nerfed for Spark because it can't stay forever because of the duration, but this is very, very strong. And I do think that this makes you able to play Lightning Arrow for single target with 0 gem swaps. And I have done most of the content with Lightning Arrow, and I did a full feared even with Lightning Arrow, and it was pretty easy, and the damage is really absurd. You do have to kind of stand on top of the boss, and this probably makes it so that far shot and that you do more damage when it comes back is extremely, extremely strong for single target. So I am going to try to get a Forbidden Jewel to get that. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, should I use Lightning Arrow or should I use Tornado Shot? And I do think that right now, probably the answer is Lightning Arrow is better in every scenario outside of single target. Now, Lightning Arrow is better for map clear, especially in dense maps. Now, the reason behind this is because Lightning Arrow is an area of effect spell. And that means you aren't it's the area of effect attack. So what this means is that you're not really target capped. With Tornado Shot, you are target capped by how many projectiles your secondary projectiles shoot out, and it does get a lot better as you scale with more projectiles. However, in super, super dense maps, it just is not enough, even if you have like 10 or 12 additional arrows. Now, Lightning Arrow's main benefit is that it hits up to 3 additional enemies near the target, and this area of effect not only does the shotgun, it also does a lot better job at clearing out really, really dense packs, and you'll be able to see this when you play it. And also Lightning Arrow scales very, very well with more arrows. So this allows you to do really dense maps, like really dense legions, without needing a bunch of extra projectiles like Tornado Shot does. Now, Tornado Shot does have a lot better single target, and it is a little bit more consistent. It does allow you to play the build without standing right next to the boss, because you can play it further away. While when you use Lightning Arrow with Vengeant Cascade, you kind of have to stand on top of the boss in order to do the most damage, so all the projectiles, whenever it turns, can hit the boss. Now, a lot of people ask, does Vengeant Cascade work with Tornado Shot? Why can't I just use Tornado Shot and and have all the secondary projectiles to return? So if you see right here, the way it works with Vengeant Cascade is that the primary projectile returns, and then the secondary projectiles shoot out. However, the secondary projectiles do not get affected by Vengeant Cascade. Now, this has already been known because a lot of people tried this out with Nimmies, and Tornado Shot doesn't really work with Nimmies. Now, Vol Lightning Arrow, in terms of how good it is kind of a disappointment. I was really kind of sad, and it was very apparent that it was not going to be good, because Vol Lightning Arrow, if you look at it, is pretty much just one attack. And this one attack only shoots out, like, what? I think it shoots out 4 additional arrows. So it's not really going to be that big of a game changer. It's not going to be like some duration skill like Vol Lightning Strike or Vol Ice Shot that's going to do a bunch of single target. But this lasts for a very, very short time. I did find it kind of useful in the campaign and doing essences, because if you run right up to the boss and you use it on top of them, and since it fires sequentially, it actually shotguns the boss. So whenever you see this word fires projectiles sequentially, that's when the projectiles can actually shotgun the boss. Now, I do think the Vengeant Cascade Anoint has finally changed up the game. It does allow Tornado Shot to finally have some competition. And I do think that GGG chose an interesting way of evening the playing field by updating the Anoint. And not only did they update the Anoint, they probably gave Bose one of his biggest buffs in terms of clear speed and damage that is seen in quite a while. Now, overall, I do think that Bose ended up being a really surprisingly strong League starter, and I was able to even do T16 red maps with just a 4-link and Artillery Ballista. Now, I do think after this league, the whole premise that Bose are bad as a League starter will kind of be dispelled, because it does seem like Bose are the best League starter. I know you could have played Fire Trap, or you could have played Cold Dot, or you could even play Toxic Rain. However, I had a ton of people come into my chat and were like, can I reroll off this build because your build looks so much better? And it is true. Bose do clear the map that much faster than the previous builds I just mentioned. I do think one of the main aspects as to why Bose were so strong early game was this mastery. Hits have 25% chance to treat enemy monster elemental resistance values as inverted. This is extremely strong, and I do think that it does make elemental attack builds, especially when you don't have any penetration early game, very, very strong. I think when I allocated in my leveling pop, it was around almost a 40% DPS upgrade, putting it on par with precise technique. And I do think that Omniscience will still be used. I do know that I was using a Yoke of Suffering for the longest time, but Omniscience will still be the amulet of choice. And Crucible does provide a lot of character power, but man, is it a beyond god-awful league mechanic. And I'll go over a little bit more in a later video what I think about the league mechanic. But TLDR, the league mechanic, does not seem like it was tested and adjusted based on appropriate feedback, because I have no idea what is going on. If you just want to see exactly the problem I'm talking about, just look at this video right here, and it is astronomically bad. So this guy is channeling his skill. I'm assuming that he's probably in hardcore, or I'm not really sure. So right now, it takes the time to channel. And why does it take so long to channel? Why can't we have a slider that says, oh, I want to channel that long? And a lot of times there's mobs beating on you while you're channeling, and then suddenly it just full channels. And that's kind of a way of summing up the league. And then also to put it on top, the mobs don't drop loot. So it's Path of Exile, Cruceless, or instead of Crucible. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more Mirrors, Divines, and Mage Bloods than me. If you take anything away from this video, try out Lightning Arrow with Vengeant Cascade. But see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.